Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Thanksgiving from Bet On Us. I'm BK here with Bo Nix,
Yeah,
aka Sab,
yeah,
and
baby.
we're gonna talk some football. We're off of Week 12. I know I did pretty darn good. This was maybe my best weekend. What'd you have going on, Sab?
It was a good weekend for me as well. In the pick'em, went 10-2 in the pick'em, and
Mm.
with our plays, we missed all four by a half a
Oh yeah, you
catch.
did really well.
By a half a catch. No. I mean, we missed all four by a half a catch. Like we got 3 out of 4 right. We would have gotten them all if CMC got 3.5 over 3.5 catches. He only got three. But I hit the other three, so we would have hit the parlay, is what I meant. So I got 3 out of the 4 plays right, and then 10-2 in the pick'em. So decent week.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got me on the pick 'em. I was 8-4. So middle of the pack.
respectable.
Yeah, but my picks were on fire. This was one that I could take to the bank, and I felt bad doing it. Was Notre Dame minus 14 versus Army.
Mm.
It just seeing what Notre Dame did to Navy. You're loving the momentum with the service academies, loving Army, but you could see it was just like a different caliber of talent.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a slam dunk, and just right out the gates, Notre Dame just took over, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like sure money. Then we had Vanderbilt. I took plus 8.5 against LSU. Vanderbilt's having a hot season. LSU has just not looked right,
Mm.
and that one covered nicely. I had Lions -7 against the Colts. That came through. Eagles -3 versus the Rams. Eagles are looking awesome right now. Their defense looks stellar. Saquon is he's in the MVP race now.
No
He's
question
got a
about it.
really good chance. Even with all the things Derrick Henry's doing, I think Saquon is the running back of the year.
He's the Ashton Jonty of the NFL.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
a
he is.
great analogy there. Uh, the man does it all. He's running crazy. And then just to round that out, the only pick that I had that was incorrect, I took the Chargers plus 2.5 against the Ravens. Maybe bet a little bit with my heart there with Justin Herbert, my fantasy QB. First half, they looked great. Second half, the Ravens just dominated.
Yeah, I think we're looking at to start with that Monday night game. I think the Ravens might be primed to go on a little run here. They are actually they're a game behind the Steelers, but they are the overwhelming favorite to win the division at -230 right now, at least on Hard Rock Bet. The reason being is because they have a game coming up against the Steelers at home through their stretch, and their stretch run of games isn't very tough compared to the Steelers, where they do have some road tests. So I think you're looking at the Ravens probably going on a little run here and winning that division, which didn't look like it was in play a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I think that's a tough one to say they're not going to get it. So I'd go with the Ravens there. But who they have two MVP candidates on one team
Hmm.
with Lamar and Henry. Excuse me, who's your MVP after 12?
Well, besides Bo Nix, so it's probably no, I'm just kidding. We'll get to him in a minute. To me,
Have
I
you
mean,
abandoned Josh Allen?
no, I'm not, and that's where I'm going. It's Josh Allen. The problem is so Saquon Barkley makes an amazing case. I mean, he has obviously been the missing piece to that Eagles team. I think everyone's kind of still for some reason sleeping on the Eagles because of the Lions and how much success they've had, and they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl for the first time in their history. So they're getting all the attention. But meanwhile, the Eagles have won 7 in a row. Like you said, Saquon is doing backwards turtles over guys, and by the way, they added that to Madden, which is kind of insane. So
That's
you can
sick.
do that now, which is crazy. But just, I mean, the guy has 23 runs of 30 or more this season.
Holy
That seems,
moly.
I
That's
literally had to.
Madden numbers right there.
So
That's
I heard it. I haven't, now I must say, I haven't looked it up, but I heard it on the radio. Two different shows said it. So on ESPN radio. So I assume that it's it's accurate.
that's
So
crazy.
it's hard to not pick him, but we know it's a quarterback award, and Saquon's going to have to go over 2,000 yards. He's going to have to score 20 plus touchdowns. If he doesn't, they're going to give it to the best quarterback because Josh Allen's numbers are there, and he has not turned the ball over this season like he does in the past. And his team is 9-2. They beat the Chiefs. If they win out and the Chiefs lose one of the remaining 5 games, they are the AFC's top seed, and it'll run through Buffalo. So I still think it's going to go to a quarterback. And like I said, unless Saquon can get that 2K yards, which he very well could, but I still like Josh Allen for obvious reasons and my bias. But the guy is just all world. He's my MVP right now with Saquon being a close second. And I personally think Lamar's out of the running. Personally, I
Really?
think so. The reason I say is because he has won two of them, and that is a thing. At least now, it's like a week to week award now. It used to not be that way. You get one bad game and they forget about you for a couple weeks. Then you have a good game and it's like you're back.
Hmm.
And I think he has, with Derrick Henry back there helping him, I think that's taking away from his
Mystique.
like
Yeah.
spark, or you know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like that's what's
Yeah.
gonna
His
hold
one
him
man
back,
show.
which he's fine with. I'm sure he's tired of MVPs. Probably wants that Super Bowl. So I mean, yeah, to me, I think he's out of the running for now. But I think it's a two horse race with Allen and Barkley.
Yeah. So Derrick Henry, you're not even really putting in the mix.
No, I don't think so because of Barkley being what he's doing. I mean, if Barkley wasn't doing what he's doing, maybe, but to have two running backs up there is a lot. So
Yeah, yeah, and I'm in agreement there. I think if Saquon just continues this track he's on, I don't know how you pick anybody else because he
yeah,
would in 2024 to have a historic season as a running back. It seems like a thing of the past. You know,
yeah,
most teams are running back by committee. They're pass happy. They're stretching out the field, protecting the quarterback. You just don't really see that anymore. But Saquon's so dynamic that he has those crazy runs that you talked about.
yeah,
He gets a lot out of the, passes out of the backfield that then become crazy runs after the catch. So, and even some deep balls he gets. I mean, the
yeah.
guy is like everywhere.
He runs fade routes if he has to. Yeah, it's
He
crazy.
does. Yeah, and he can catch. So he's so good. And that team, Jalen Hurts isn't having that great of a year.
Mm-mm.
AJ Brown has been out a lot. They don't have a lot of other offensive. They have the firepower, but they haven't all been there. And Saquon has consistently just dominated, and he seems like he's heating up as the year goes on.
Yeah,
So
he's one of those backs that when he stays healthy, he gets stronger as the year goes on. He even did that in New York with no offensive line. I remember having him in fantasy a couple years ago when he was in New York and thinking, what a terrible pick, and through 5 weeks, and then he just turned it on after that and towards the end. But the Giants were the Giants, and I mean, if that guy wasn't drafted by the Giants, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer already without question, right? I mean, if you put and everyone says oh, there was a thing that said Josh Jacobs left the Raiders. He went to the Packers. Look what he's doing. Saquon Barkley left the Giants. Look what he's doing there. Derrick Henry left the Titans. So they're saying that it's like, oh, these guys should have got paid by those other teams. I personally think it's the opposite. I think those are just the last pieces that these teams needed. I don't necessarily think that. I don't necessarily think those teams made the bad move. They just weren't ready. The Ravens were ready. The Eagles were ready. I mean, the Packers too. They had their quarterback. They have the defense. Like they needed that running back, and
agreed.
I think that's where it is these teams were missing that one piece, that one workhorse back,
Yeah.
and
Where
they've
on those
got it
other
now.
teams, they were the only piece, and
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
and that's why
Yep.
it didn't work at all. And I even like Troy Aikman, who usually kind of rides on the Cowboys pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
He said this past week someone was bringing up Derrick Henry. Oh, could the Cowboys have gotten him? What a miss! How did they miss him? And he just flat out said he's like, I couldn't be happier for him to be on the Ravens because he does not have a season that even looks remotely like this on the
Not
Cowboys.
even close.
Yeah,
No, not
and
even
so
close.
it kind of shows you the team aspect of it. And to that point, I mean, let's see what happens to Danny Dimes going to the Vikings. If he blows up,
Which
like
I
you got
called
to
on
bury
this,
the Giants.
which I show, by the way, I said the Vikings was the place for him to go. So I just want that to be clear. We'll have to tell you to pull up, find the tape. It was a couple. Well, but he's definitely. I think that's the only reason he's there. And we're not going to spend too much time on Danny Dimes, by the way. That's the place he could have went where it's like there's no pressure. Obviously, Sam Darnold's the guy. He can be a viable backup if he needs to. Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback's coach. That's a place for him to go. So maybe he can get some confidence back at least, and maybe have some sort of an NFL career. Because right now, I mean, no one's beating down his door to start for them. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree there. So, in any event, we're moving on to week 13 as the
Mhm.
season continues to fly by, and we got some other sports, we'll talk about. But right now, this is football time, baby. We're
Yeah.
going into Thanksgiving Day. Usually, have a slate of 3 amazing games. I don't think it's going to be that way. We open up with the Lions Bears.
Hmm.
I can tell you right now, I'm taking the Lions. That's an easy one. I think they're a 9.5 point favorite. I'm just taking the Lions as a part of my pick 'em. I have no other prop bet or anything exciting to offer. What say you?
Well, I'm the same way at the 9.5 for sure. The one parlay I would take that has hit, I believe, 7 or 8 of the 12 games they've played. If you look at the running backs, now Montgomery is banged up, so I'm not sure if he's going to go. It looks like he is. I would be surprised if he didn't go. Gibbs and Montgomery have scored in the same game 7 of 12 weeks. That's a nice little parlay if you want to parlay them anytime touchdowns. I mean, because more than likely it's going to happen, and you're going to get about plus 150, plus 200 on your money. It's not too bad.
Yep.
So Montgomery's
There
usually
you
the
go.
favorite to score, and then Gibbs is a little lower, just because the way they do it. Sometimes Gibbs doesn't get in there on the goal line, but I mean Gibbs is so freaking flashy, and he doesn't need to be
He'll
on the
get a
goal line.
50-yard touchdown run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, or a screen to the house.
What you could look at, just to piggyback on that, is you could parlay the anytime touchdown score by Gibbs or Montgomery. I bet you that would be near plus 200 ish, or maybe not that much, but it'd be
Yeah,
high plus 100s.
yeah,
And then I looked at getting 2 touchdowns for Gibbs. 2 touchdowns plus by Gibbs would be plus 240.
that's a nice
So
too,
if you're
especially if
sitting there
Montgomery doesn't
thinking,
play. Especially if
yeah,
Montgomery.
Montgomery's got the shoulder thing, maybe he only gets a few snaps and then he's not on the field much,
Yeah,
they're going to score a lot of touchdowns. Their offense is going to blow away the Bears. So then at that point, actually giving Gibbs a workload, which I'd love on my fantasy team,
of
I
course.
think
Yeah,
those at least 2 rushing touchdowns now are kind of his for the taking.
yeah, and you look at the 9.5 point spread and you think, damn, that's a lot of points in the NFL. 10 points, right? It's just not a lot of points for the Lions. I mean, these guys have blown out so many teams this year. Granted, it is a divisional game, short week, but it's the short week road team, and it's a Thanksgiving game. And the Lions, this isn't your grandfather's Lions who just go get beat up on Thanksgiving every year. You know what I mean? So they're going to come out. They're going to become ready to play. And Caleb Williams had a great game last week. Can't take anything away from that. He showed some signs that the Bears could say, okay, maybe we got our guy, but I think Detroit's a different beast, and I think it's gonna be a track meet that the Bears won't be able to keep up with. I think.
Yeah. I'm not going to take that spread. That's too lofty for me, but
Mhm.
certainly taking the Lions. And then next up, we got my Cowboys, who I have been routinely betting against.
Yep.
For a couple weeks in a row there, I took the opposing team to cover their spread, which I was very happy with. You saw the Eagles did it, the couple of these teams by monster margins. And then I thought, going back to that 9.5, that's what the Commanders had. Commanders were 9.5 point favorites. I said, you know what? That seems for kind of a slower game, like too many points. Bypassed it this week, which I was thankful. The Cowboys then won the game, beat the Commanders, was quite a surprise. So my point is, with the Cowboys Giants, I took the Cowboys -4. I think both these teams are a mess. I've said that 1,000 times, but I think the Cowboys are a more talented mess than the
Wow.
Giants.
Yeah.
And I think the Cowboys defense that we saw flashes in the past couple years in the first game this season, they have a lot of that defense still there. So I think that whether it's Tommy DeVito or Locke or whoever it is that's in there, I think the Cowboys defense is going to
Yeah.
light it up. And,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm taking the Cowboys -4.
Yeah. And I think first off, it's -3 for me, which is interesting. That it's -4. It's all the way -3 at Hard Rock. So
Huh.
I'm
What are
actually
the -3? What are the odds? Do you see there?
I believe it was like -120. So it was a little
Okay.
higher than
I think I was
usual.
-105 when I did it yesterday.
Okay, so that kind of makes sense then. So you know me, my rule with the -3, I say buy the half a point because who the hell wants to push? You know what I mean? Either lose or not. So I'm gonna buy the half a point. The Cowboys, like you said, are like a mess. But the Giants are a bigger mess by far, really, in my opinion, because they don't have the talent to make up for things that the Cowboys do. Now I know Cooper Rush is quarterback, but he had a good week last week. He was pretty accurate. He found CeeDee Lamb when he needed to. Helped in our Lamb over 5.5 catches on our specials last week too. It is Drew Lock. It looks like that's going to be starting for the Giants. It's the only thing that maybe say, okay, he can get hot. I've seen him get hot in Denver a little bit here and there randomly. But it's the Giants. He's not. He's got. I mean, Malik Neighbors is already calling out his coaches. He's saying, "Well, it's not the quarterback's fault, obviously, that we're losing because same quarterback, different quarterback, same result, whatever." So I mean, then they're not ready to play in 3 days, no matter who they're playing at Dallas. They don't want to be there. They don't want to do that. So I give me the Cowboys -2.5. They got to win by at least a field goal. If they can't win this game, I think you throw a grenade in
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy's locker room anyway.
I
Yeah,
said this earlier. They got to hit the reset button, but I just hope for the holidays' sake on Thanksgiving that they can
yeah,
pull something out, get some excitement there. And like I was mentioning off air, a lot of the sites, a lot of the platforms don't have these defensive touchdowns just regularly in their prop bets. If you find it, that is something I'll call right now. There's no bet or anything I have on that, but I am calling a Cowboys defensive touchdown tomorrow. That'd be exciting to see,
I
and it
like
would
that.
not surprise me.
I'm gonna look at it again too and see if I can find it. I know I've only seen players that can score, but if we can find it, and you got to think that's got to be around like a minus 400 type bet, four
Plus
to one
400,
maybe,
yeah.
something like that, or plus 400. I'm sorry.
I bet
Yeah,
it's longer than that even.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, you guys
think, I
get
mean, you could pick six or one of these kind of, I don't want to say scrub quarterbacks, but one of these lesser quarterbacks. And then with Micah Parsons coming there later in the game, you're going to be looking at strip sacks and stuff.
yeah,
That's where they could scoop and score even.
yeah. That would be interesting. And you guys did have two kickoff returns for touchdowns last week,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that was
one
wild.
being on a onside kick, which is crazy, but.
Yep. And so I do have one prop bet tomorrow that I actually did, and it's legitimate. It's not one of these defensive ones. Rico Dowdle has taken over the running back role. I said all along the Cowboys don't have a running back. I'll still say they don't have a running back, but he's not really sharing the load with Zeke so much. Zeke was supposedly the starter. They've almost offloaded him.
Mhm.
Rico Dowdle, his rushing was something like 60 yards. What
Mhm.
I like, because again, you have a inexperienced quarterback, a lot of check downs. Rico Dowdle over 83 and a half total receiving and rushing yards. I'm taking the over. I think Rico Dowdle goes over 83 and a half, either through air or on the ground.
And I forgot to add mine. I'm taking CD Lamb over catches every single week until the season's over. I mean,
Yep.
I've watched the
It's
last
like
two
my
Cowboys.
Saquon bet. Yep.
Right, I've watched the last two Cowboys games. The one on Monday night against the Texans with Cooper Rush, and then this one, and it's his first read
Yeah,
every
they
single
force
time.
feed it.
And as it should be, it's your number one. But with Dak, I mean, it wasn't always that way. I mean, but it's literally his first read every single play, and
And
he's
sometimes only.
and
Sometimes
right.
he doesn't take his eyes off him.
Exactly. And so it's like, yeah, if it's like 6.5, I think just take it. I mean,
Yep.
you might hit it by halftime. I think he hit
Yeah.
this week. Last week he hit it by halftime. So
And so in that same game, I'll share a tease with you, Sab. I'm not doing it, but
okay.
listen to this: over under 2.5 rushing yards. Cooper Rush.
Oh wow. I mean, his last name is Rush, so you would think you'd get something like that. But
Just a quick 3 yard
so
scramble and trip.
usually those are the ones that you're like you stay away from because they're that low for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Stafford the other
Two
night
and a
was
half.
two. I think Stafford's the other night against
That's
the
a lunge.
Eagles. It was like over under 4.5 or something, and he took off for like 12 yards in the first quarter. And the way Joe Buck was talking about it was like, well, you hit that, or like he basically said, like, oh, that doesn't happen often. You got to wonder how long that rush was, huh, Troy, or something like that. And like you were basically talking about it, like, hey, he hit his over. So
Yep.
yeah, I would stay the hell away from that personally.
As am I.
Yeah,
I thought maybe I could get someone to bite, but
but
I
not
won't
not
touch it
not me.
because yeah, those are one of those ones that are kind of like they're scary, where you're sitting there
Mhm.
on the edge of the seat every single play, run, run, run. It's like
Exactly.
you go through 70 plays, like damn, not
And it
one
just
single
never
run.
does. Yeah, it just never does. Nope.
Yeah, but that's the Cowboys Giants. I got the Cowboys. I'm even taking the Cowboys -4. Then we get into the night game. We got and this is probably the only one of the three that could be like a legit watchable game. You got the Packers playing the Dolphins in Green Bay. What do you think there?
Well, it's going to be cold, right? And the Dolphins, it's no stranger that they don't like playing in the cold weather. They've never
Mhm.
won a game, I think, in franchise history when it's below 40 or something crazy like that, or it's been like forever. We saw the game last year against Kansas City in the playoffs. Obviously, that one was a little ridiculous. It was like negative 30 wind chill, just something ridiculous. But I mean, they couldn't move the ball, and they're saying all the right things. They're saying, coach is saying I'm gonna have ice cubes in my pocket and throwing them at the players all week or something crazy like that. I think the guy's back on the sauce, but I hope not. But he, it's just I just don't see a scenario. I mean, Tyreek Hill, where is Tyreek Hill? I mean, he has done next. You think, oh, yeah, two is coming back. They throw his overs up at over 90 yards again. Is that like Jalen Waddle has become the number one receiver there? And for whatever reason, I don't know if they're doubling him or if he's just not there because of the
He
record.
says he's hurt from his arrest. He's brought that
Oh,
up a number of times.
is it really? Well, they just dropped the charges though, so maybe that'll help. They just dropped it, so we'll see. Maybe that'll get him going. But yeah, the Packers to me are looking really good. If they didn't play in the NFC North, they'd be in first place in any other division that they'd be playing in. So I think it's an easy one. Like I said, it's -3. You know what I do with that? Buy it down just to be safe. -2.5. I would hammer the Packers on that. Jordan Love's playing pretty well. He's going to throw a pick every game. It's just going to happen. He tried to throw one last week and he didn't, but he can make up for it. Another guy that could use a receiver, huh? I mean, he doesn't have Jaden Reed's kind of a slot guy. Christian Watson drops everything past 40 yards. It's right in his mouth. It's unbelievable. And Romeo Dobbs, I mean, who's gonna say he's a good receiver? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, can
get
you
that
line
guy a
Jacobs up
receiver.
at a wideout?
Yeah, exactly. And Josh Jacobs is the key too. I don't know how good the Dolphins are against the run. I think it's great. But cold weather, you run the football. So I think it's going to be the Packers in an easy one. I think the
Yeah.
Dolphins just don't play good in cold weather. They just
Yep.
don't.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Packers there. I'm not going to mess with the spread or anything. And the Dolphins, they scare me a little bit because when Tua came back, I said there's something here. They got a little bit of a story that they're going to build on in their division. Could they make a run, go on a real run and get into the playoffs? And it seemed like maybe they could piece that together. There still is that outside chance.
Mhm.
So they're going to be playing hungry. But yeah, the cold thing, I think, is a big factor. The Packers are pretty good. I'm not overly convinced one way or the other, but I would definitely lean Green Bay on this one.
Yeah, so you just segued perfectly for me. I was looking for a way to do this. You were
Mhm.
talking about the Dolphins making a run to the playoffs, right? Well, guess who the team is that they're going to be trying to catch. You might see this guy behind me. You might have heard his name a few times on this show. That is Mr. Bo Nix. Okay, the Broncos. Izzy wants to cuddle, but we got to talk about Bo Nix. Okay, um, so it has been 10 years since I've been able to say this with actual definitive confidence that we
Mhm.
have our quarterback. I've said it about Russell Wilson. I thought, of course he's Russell Wilson. He's going to be this, blah, blah, blah. Said it about Drew Lock one time, because he showed some fire, and then it was just all downhill from there. This guy, dude, I'm telling you what, yeah, everyone likes to talk about his age, like, oh, he's 24, he better be good. I hate to break this to you, but Joe Burrow was actually older than Bo Nix for his first start in the NFL. I just want everybody to know that, okay? So not that he's going to be Joe Burrow, but I think he will be. So this dude, I'm telling you, man, he's so good. He makes so many crisp throws that it's like I haven't seen since Peyton. I'm not calling him Peyton, but I'm saying I haven't
You're
seen.
calling out all the greats.
Listen to me. I have not
He's got the
seen.
acumen of Tom Brady, the arm
I
of
mean, but
Dante Culpepper.
that's exactly, he can run like Vic. And I mean, he can run too. He can literally do anything. Like he has
Josh
no.
Allen, move over. Here comes Bo Nix.
He's basically Jesus. So like he has no weak points, man, and he's not turning the football over. We've looked at the offensive rookie of the year numbers every week. They've been closing in on Jaden Daniels. Now he's only plus 125. He went from plus
Wow.
1,300 to plus 125. Jaden Daniels was plus 950 3 weeks ago. He's now minus 150. I mean, he's one good game away, and Jaden Daniels one mediocre game away from taking that lead. And he's got the Browns on Monday night in Denver, his first primetime game at home. I think this is going to be his like showing out party for whoever hasn't seen him play yet.
Yeah.
I just don't see him laying an egg against the Browns, who are 3-8. But man, it's really exciting, and that's why I think the Dolphins can't make a run, is because if they lose on Thursday and the Broncos win, they're basically 3 games back and the Broncos have a 3 game lead on them. I mean, that's pretty much it. The Colts are right there for a 2 game lead. Colts, I believe, have a tough game on Sunday, so we're all but in.
Yeah.
Basically, if we win on Monday night, is what I'm saying.
Really talk about moving forward
So
confidently.
basically, what I'm saying is I've got my tickets ready for New Orleans in the Super Bowl.
There you
Bo
go.
Nix is gonna be the MVP, and then yeah, no, but no. In all seriousness, man, it's just this kid is something special, and
Yeah.
finally people are starting to talk about it. It's like all over
Yeah.
the NFL world. It's like,
And it's
this guy's here.
he is. And I know
Yeah,
you mentioned him being 24. Like he comes in there day one, like he just owns the field.
yeah.
And there was no like jitters. There was nothing about this guy.
Mm-mm.
He plays so confident. I don't know if it's that kind of young naivete of just kind of like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm the man,
yeah,
or if he just is that confident in himself that he's controlling the game. Whatever it might be, he's getting the job done now. And I think Monday night, like you said, that's a big one. You're a rookie, even though you're 24, you're a rookie. you're on prime time, you're on Monday night, and on the opposing side is Myles Garrett. That's one of those things. If they don't get two men on him to block him, and he comes through and just whacks Nicks, that is going to be on his mind all
Yes.
night long. And he may not look like the quarterback he was, because
Right.
he hasn't. I don't think he's really had that type of Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt type of
Well, he did.
domination where
Yeah.
it's just in his head the entire game of run from that guy.
And he did, and he played against T.J. Watt against the Steelers in Week 2. Back probably his last bad game that he had. The first 2 weeks were terrible. First three of the first four anyway. And he did. He was rattled a little bit, but I think that's because it was Week 2. He was getting those jitters out. This kid avoids sacks like probably like not many quarterbacks in this league too. That's the thing. The Broncos actually have the biggest differential in sacks made and sacks allowed. So they are number one in that. They're number one in the league in sacks on defense, and they're like maybe, I don't know, third or fourth fewest sacks given up. So that's a big thing, and that's a big reason why they're winning. But going back to the Monday night thing, it's a game they're supposed to win. Let's be real. No one's expecting the Browns at 3-8 to come in there with Jameis Winston and beat them. I know they came off a great win against Pittsburgh on a short
Yeah,
week in the snow, but and I love me some Jameis Winston, but Broncos are
yeah.
supposed to win this game. The difference this year and years past is they've been taking care of those teams that they're supposed to beat, the Panthers, the Raiders, teams like that. Like they were like, all right, no hiccups. Let's,
We'll see.
1 week at a time. They got their bye week after this. Then you go into the last four games of the year, and it's playoff time, hopefully in Denver.
Yeah,
Finally,
hopefully so. And we'll
yeah,
get into that more this weekend. I know we're jumping over Thanksgiving now,
yeah.
but some exciting stuff going on. And speaking of Jameis Winston, if you're out there listening to Bet on Us, we would love to have you on the show, because the man is hysterical.
Uh-huh.
Every single time you put a microphone in front of this guy.
Would love to talk. Jameis Winston is the only guy that you could get a Bible verse in one breath and then a mama joke in the next. Like it's insane. Like he is all over the stratosphere, man. But that guy is awesome for sure. And
Yeah.
As a Gator fan, I couldn't stand him at FSU. But like every year, that guy just grows on me more
Is
and
that
more. And I
stuff,
think
do you think that's is that like, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it pre-planned what's coming out of his mouth?
I think a little bit, like when he said, what did he say?
Or is he out of his mind?
The horse is ready for battle. He said, or the horse is ready for, I mean, I think some of it is, but then he gets going, and then he gets that big cheesy smile where he's just like, man, you could tell the guy, and he was mic'd up actually on that game, and he just seemed like he was like a kid at the playground, man, like my daughter at the playground, just running around having a great time, hanging out with all the kids, like just craziness, man, getting sick because of it.
Yep.
But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so I think he is real. I think he's like 80% real. That's what I put it at
The
about 80%.
20% is totally out to
20% is
lunch.
just whatever. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's great. That's what makes him great, though.
Yeah.
He's a
No,
great
he's good
interview.
TV. No doubt
Yeah,
about that.
no question. Yeah.
Yep. But just to recap, we are going with the favorites up and down the board tomorrow in the 3-game slate. I'm taking the Cowboys -4. Sab flirting. It sounded like you were taking all the favorites to cover there,
Yes,
but
I am.
maybe buying your little half points.
And I'm parlaying all of them on the money line. I'm doing a parlay: Lions, Cowboys,
Of
Packers
course.
parlay money line.
Which, mind you, that's like $10 is going to get you like $18. So,
It's not that great, but it's worth it if you're gonna put 50 on it. I mean, it pays like 95, 100, so why not?
yep.
I feel like
Yeah. So
those are.
let's do.
I feel like the Cowboys game to me is the only one that's even close to questioning. But
Don't question it, man.
yeah,
We got to have a good Cowboys win and then start feeding Rico Dowdle and make me look good.
get those 82 yards or whatever it is. Yeah,
Yeah. 83 and a half
83 and a half.
altogether.
All right, I might
Yep.
tail that one.
There you
Parlay it
go.
with CDs over whatever it is, even if it's 10. I'm taking it.
All righty, guys. Well, that's another episode of Bet on Us, a little Thanksgiving special. Everybody eat lots of turkey, root for your teams. Good luck with any bets you have. And we'll catch up with you this weekend.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
See ya.